close his fist.
Fatigue within the superhero genre. A term that's being used to describe the idea that audiences are becoming tired or oversaturated with superhero films and TV shows. The idea is generally believed to have begun in the mid-2010s, but is so much more apparent today.
It's nothing to me but blinding.
The main idea behind the superhero genre fatigue theory is that the stories have become formulaic with predictable plot lines and character arcs. This means that most films today are believed to have the same basic structure and conventions. For example, the hero is usually an outsider or misfit who gains extraordinary powers, faces a powerful villain, and ultimately saves the day. This formula has become so common that it can feel repetitive and uninspired. Take Marvel for example. We have Spider-Man and Captain America. One is an unpopular nerd at school, and one is too small to join the army so feels left out and useless for his country. Both these characters then gain superhuman powers and then fight a villain with similar powers and ultimately save the day. But not all superhero films are like this. Look at two more Marvel characters, Iron Man and Thor. Both these characters are not outsiders. One is a billionaire playboy and the other is a space god prince. One could argue they already have their powers. Tony Stark has his intelligence and he makes his own suits, and Thor is a space god prince. But they still follow the same story beats. They both momentarily lose their freedom and powers and have to learn from their mistakes. They both then do learn from them and use their powers for the greater good and defeat a villain with similar powers and ultimately win the day. Feeling repetitive yet? Touching on villains with similar powers, a common trope in superhero films is the mirror villain, who is essentially a dark reflection of the hero. While this can be an effective way to create a compelling antagonist, it can also feel repetitive if it's used too often. In the case of Marvel, they may have this problem. A huge criticism of the superhero genre is that there are simply too many films and TV shows being produced, leading to a sense of oversaturation. In recent years, it seems like there's been a new superhero film or show coming out every few months, which can be overwhelming for audiences who may feel like they can't keep up so regularly. It can be difficult for viewers to stay engaged and invested, particularly if they feel like they've seen the same kind of stories and characters over and over again. Another issue with oversaturation is that it can lead to a sense of burnout among filmmakers and creatives. When there's so much pressure to produce new superhero content on a regular basis, it can be difficult to come up with fresh and innovative ideas that can lead to more formulaic and predictable stories. Just last year alone, Marvel released 4 films, 4 series, and 2 specials. DC released 3 films and 3 series, and also The Boys Season 3 came out. Take these 2 DC 2022 released films for example, The Batman and Black Adam. Black Adam stuck to a fairly basic superhero film plot, with Black Adam saving the day with no real consequences, and had forced tie-ins to the rest of the DC universe trying to create interconnectivity. Whereas Robert Pattinson's The Batman gave a fresh detective, gritty style superhero film, where there were consequences to the hero's actions despite him winning the day. It also stood alone as its own film, giving the director and producers more creative freedom. One of the challenges of the superhero genre is that many films are designed to be part of a larger franchise, rather than standalone films. This means that filmmakers often have to work within the confines of an established universe, which can make it difficult to tell truly original stories. For example, if a studio is planning to release multiple films featuring the same superhero, each of those films will likely have to fit within a larger narrative arc that spans multiple. This can be limiting for filmmakers who may feel like they can't take as many risks or explore new ideas as they might in a standalone film. Furthermore, because studios often prioritise sequels and spin-offs over original ideas, there may be less of an emphasis on innovation and risk-taking in the genre. Instead, studios may opt to play it safe and stick with tried and true formulas that have worked in the past, rather than taking chances on new and untested ideas.